Hi all. In this video, we will discuss about artificial neural networks and to what type of problems artificial neural networks can be applied. ANN learning is well suited to problems in which training data corresponds to noisy, complex sensor data such as inputs from cameras and microphones. ANN provide a general practical method for learning real valued, discrete valued, and vector valued functions from functions. Here we will use algorithms like backpropagation to tune network parameters to best fit a training set of input and output pairs. We can apply ANN successfully to problems such as interpreting visual scenes, speech recognition, and learning robot control strategies. Before discussing artificial neural networks, let us have small discussion on human brain. Generally, our human brain contains 10 power 11 neurons. On an average, each neuron is connected to 10 power 4 other neurons. That means data is transmitted from one neuron to 1000 other neurons. In the case of switching from one job to other job, our human brain requires 10 power minus 3 seconds time, whereas for the same job, computer requires 10 power minus 10 seconds. That means computers can switch fastly than human brain from one job to other job. One study gives us our human brain requires approximately 10 power minus 1 seconds to visually recognize mother. Our human brain performs a highly parallel process on distributed environments. ANNs are loosely motivated by biological neurons. What is the meaning of this one? What is loosely motivated? Here we are taking the concept of neurons in the case of artificial neural networks, but we are not going to perform complete parallel process. That's why we are taking as artificial neural networks are loosely motivated by biological neurons. Here, in the case of artificial neural networks, individual units output a single constant value, but in the case of biological neurons, output a complex time series of spikes. Many researchers are working on artificial neural networks. Those researchers we can separate into two groups. One set of researchers are using artificial neural networks to study biological learning processes, but other set of researchers are using artificial neural networks to build machine learning algorithms without considering of mirroring of biological process. Here is one example for artificial neural networks, and it shows how these neural networks are represented. Here, in this example, in this example, we are taking a robot driving car. Here, we are mounting one camera on a front glass. So from that, by using that camera, we are getting inputs. That is what is happening in front of that car. Total data we are taking in the form of input. Here you can observe in the second diagram this input, that is data from camera, is transmitted to the in middle layer, that is a hidden layer. Okay, so from each input unit, data is transmitted to each hidden unit. This one is N-to-1 process. Okay. Then after calculating values, those data is transmitted to these output units. Okay, in this example, we are taking a 30 by 32 sensor input to retina. So 30 outputs we are taking and inputs are 32. From all 32 input units, data is transmitted to each hidden unit. After calculating intermediate data, those output of those hidden units are transmitted to each output unit. Okay, so this is the general representation of multi-layer network in the case of artificial neural network. So mainly, to what type of problems these artificial neural networks can be applied? So first one is the problem instances are represented by many attribute and value pairs. Okay, for those type of problems, you can apply these ANNs. The next one is the target function output may be discrete valued, real valued, or vector of several real or discrete valued attributes. So for those type of problems, you can apply artificial neural networks. In the if training data, okay, so there is a possibility of many errors are present in training data in some situations, in some problems. So in those situations, for those problems, you can apply artificial neural networks. So that means the data which is supplied to the network may contain many errors. Okay. Next one is to train the network, long training timings are acceptable. And next one is after training the network, okay, fast evaluation is required. Okay, for the what type for the those problems, more training time is acceptable and after training fast evaluation is required. For those type of problems you can apply these artificial neural networks. So for example, in the previous slide I have shown robot driving car. Okay, so while training that particular network you can take long timings, but after training while using the network in the car, okay, that network has to take decisions fastly. If it take decisions slowly, that is evaluation is slow, then there is a possibility of accidents. Okay, so quickly that system, that network has to take decision. According to that decision, the car has to be driven by the robot. Okay, so the problem is long training timings are acceptable and after training fast evaluation is required. For those type of problems you can apply these artificial neural networks. Now we will see the basic unit of artificial neural network. So basic unit is a perceptron. Okay. So in the case of human brain, neuron is the basic unit, but in the case of artificial neural network, basic unit is perceptron. So here a perceptron takes a vector of real valued inputs. Okay, so what is that real valued input? Okay, so here you see, you observe this one. Okay, you are giving vector of inputs you are giving to that particular perceptron. After giving that data, it calculates a linear combination of these inputs. Okay, where you are showing this one, so linear combination of those inputs, then outputs either 1 or -1. how to take that 1 or minus 1 depending on some threshold value. If that output linear combination of all the inputs value is greater than threshold value, then output is 1. Otherwise, output is 0. So generally in this perceptron, our inputs we are representing as x1, x2 up to some xn. Okay. Then we are taking separately this one x naught equal to 1 and weight w naught. Okay, these are weights w1, w2, w3 and w naught are the weights. Okay, so here we are considering some threshold value. We are taking some threshold value. To make that one as 0, to make that one as 0, we are taking this W naught weight. Okay. Then this X naught equal to 1. This is called as a bias unit. That one is called as bias unit. Okay. That one also accompanied some weight, that is W naught. That is mainly used to make our threshold value as 0. Okay, so here for example all these by using these weights and these input values x1 to xn and w1 to wn. Okay, if that value is some -8 if you got, for example, okay, then you can take w naught, okay, depending on threshold value. If you take w naught as some value, if it is greater than 0, then our output is 1, otherwise output is -1. Okay, so like that you can take perceptron. So these perceptrons can represent all primitive Boolean functions, AND gate representation, or NAND and NOR representation. Okay. So here to train these perceptrons, we have two rules. One is a perceptron training rule. Second one is a delta rule. Okay. So why we require two rules? So now I will explain in what type of situation which rule we have to apply. Okay. So in the case of perceptron training rule, we are taking weight wi. Okay, that is w1 to wn. How many weights are there? So every time we are modifying that weight value to minimize the error. What is the error? Error is a difference between target output and trained output. So that is T is target output and training output. That is output generated by using your values. Okay. Then this is called as a learning rate. That one is called as a learning rate. And this is corresponding input value. So by taking this formula, we are taking the change in W value. We are adding that one. We can change the weight value. Okay. Then what purpose we are changing the weight value? To minimize the error. That is this difference we have to minimize. We have to minimize. Okay. So once you minimize that one, what is the meaning of that one? You are going to get the target output. Here, I'll give the implementation of AND gate and OR gate by using perceptron training rule. Okay, so you all know what is AND gate, what is a truth table for AND gate. So AND gate gives the value as true or 1 if both the inputs are true or both the inputs are 1. Okay, so now see this uh, truth table. I am taking two inputs I1 and I2 combination 0 0 0 1 1 0 1 1. Okay. Here output is if both the inputs are 1, output is 1, otherwise output is false. That false in this case I am representing as -1. Okay. Now I have to apply I have to design neural network, that is by using simple perceptron. I have to give this, I have to train that particular perceptron. Okay, now see, to train that one, what you require mainly? You require weight values. Okay, so by giving these inputs, I am supposed to get these outputs. I'm supposed to get these outputs. If I give input as 1 and 1, I'm supposed to get 1 as the output. That is target output. Listen carefully. That one is target output. Okay. So W1 is 0.5. I'm assuming, listen, I'm assuming W2 is 0.5 and W0 I'm taking as 0.4. Okay. So now see the first input is 0, 0. So what is the value I will get here? What is the value here? I'll get here 1 into 0.4 is 0.4 is 0.4 plus this one is 0 because my W1 value is 0.5, I1 value is 0 and this one also 0. Anyhow, this is greater than 0 because this is greater than 0. Okay. So if it is greater than 0, if it is greater than 0, what we are taking? Which value is greater than 0, I am taking output as 1. What is the actual output? It is minus 1. So this weight value does not support our requirement. So I have to change weight value because I have to get the target output. So I am changing this one as a minus 0.4. I'm changing this one to the minus 0.4 because here I got 0.4. So I'm getting negative other, I'm not getting the target result. That's why I'm changing as a negative number. Okay. Now see, same thing. Minus 0.4, I1 0, I2 0 because that's why these two are zeros. Here what will you get? Minus 0.4. So minus 0.4 is greater than 0? No. So that's why we are getting is output as minus 1. So this one is correct in the case of minus 0.1. So I have to check remaining training cases or not. Remaining cases are not. Okay. So remaining next case. Next case, I1 value is 0 and I2 value is 1. Okay. So in this case, what is our W naught is minus 0.4. So here minus 0.4. I'm taking that one. Next place. What is I1 value? I1 value is 0. I1 value is 0. So 0 into anything, it gives as 0 plus what is I2 value? I2 value is 1. What is W2 value? Is 0.5. Here you will get 0.5 this value. Now what is the sum of these two? Sigma value 0.5 minus 0.4. It is 0.1. Okay, so now here we have to compare to get the output value. So 0.1 is greater than 0, satisfied. We are getting as a value as 1. But what is our required output? What is our target output? Minus 1. But what you got here, that is 1 you got. So that one not giving the correct result. So this value also not correct in the case of AND operation. So what we have to do here? Here I have to change W naught value. For example, if I change W naught value is minus zero point 0.7, minus 0.7. So now you observe. Now you observe. Okay. So that is my W naught value I have changed. That is minus 0.7 minus 0.7. So in this case, what are you getting? Minus 0.2. Minus 0.2 is less than 0. So this is satisfied. Okay. So what are next inputs? 1 and 0. 1 and 0. So what you will get here in that case? This value we are not changing, minus 0.7. 1 multiplied by 0.5, it is 0.5 plus, what is our I2 value? I2 value is 0. 0 multiplied anything is 0. So minus 0.7 plus 0.5, you will get 0.2 minus 0.2. Minus 0.2 is less than 0. So value is minus 1. So this one also satisfied. Next one, I1 equal to 1 and I2 equal to 1. Now, how to take that one? How to take that one? Here, you observe here, 1 into minus 0.7 is minus 0.7. I1 value is 1. W1 value is 0.5. We'll get 0.5. I2 value is 1. W2 value is 0.5. I am taking that one as 0.5. Okay, so take some of all these things. This one goes to 0.3. This one is positive number, that is greater than 0. So output is 1. 1 is satisfied. Now with what weight values AND gate is satisfied? W1 is 0.5, W2 is 0.5, W0 as minus 0.7. Okay, these are not fixed values. You can assume your weights. You can start your weights. Okay, some ranging from minimum values you have to take in terms of points only we have to take. Okay, so then accordingly you have to train your network. This is a simple one perceptron you are training. Okay, so to implement AND gate, similarly you can implement OR gate. Okay, so instead of minus 0.7 you can take other value. Okay, so you will get the implementation of OR gate. So that value is 0.3. If you take minus 0.3, you can implement OR gate. You can implement OR gate. Okay, so like that you can change our weight values to get the target outputs. So by using this simple single perceptron and perceptron training rule, you can implement AND gate, OR gate as well as NAND gate and NOR gate. Previously, I told there are two rules are there to train the perceptron. One is perceptron training rule. Second one is a delta rule. Second one is a delta rule. So which rule we have to apply at what type of time to what type of problems, which rule we can take? So that is if data is linear separable, then we have to go for perceptron training rule. If data is non-linear separable, we have to go to delta rule, where delta rule uses gradient descent. Okay, now what is linear separable? Okay, so you observe this one, this A diagram. Here, all positive examples and all negative examples are clearly separated by drawing a line. So these are all positive examples and these are all negative examples. So in these type of situations, that data is called as linear separable data. If your data is linear separable, you can implement, we can use perceptron training rule. Okay, next one, you observe this B. Is it possible to separate these positive training examples and negative training data by drawing line at any by using any locations. It is not possible. Okay, so it is not possible to clearly separate positive training examples and negative examples. That data is called as non-linear separable data. If you want to train our system, if you want to train neural networks for non-linear separable data, we have to go for delta rule, where it uses gradient descent. Now, how to take this delta rule? In the case of delta rule, we are taking input vector as well as weight vector. So vector scalar product of those two vectors we are taking. So that is OX. So after taking that one, we have to compare with the target output. TD is target output. OD is our what is the output you got after training, actual output. Okay. So here we have to calculate error. Okay. So error, to calculate this error, we are using this formula of sigma D belongs to capital D, where capital D is set of training example, target output minus actual output whole square. Okay, now what is this one? This one is also called as E total. Okay, so here I am representing, we have two outputs. Okay, so output one is that one, and this is output 2. Then how to write this error in total? Okay, first one is target value is T1 minus output 1 whole square. Okay, sum of all these things we have to take, place of target output of second output unit T2 minus actual output which you got O2 whole square. So here two training things are there, these two trainings. Okay, so that's why I'm writing 2 times. If 3 output units are there, if 3 units are there in your artificial neural networks, okay, input units, hidden units, output units. In our first example we have taken, if 3 output units are there, you will get 3 terms. If 4 output units are there, you will get 4 terms. Okay, so like that we are calculating this error weight bar. This is also called as error in total. If this error in total is in acceptable level, that means for applications error in total generally 0.0001, like that we can take. Okay, so acceptable level, then we can stop our process. Otherwise we have to continue weight changing process. Okay, so this is called as delta rule. Okay, delta rule, in the case of delta rule, gradient descent is used. Okay, so gradient descent we'll discuss shortly. Here, this one is the algorithm for gradient descent. So each training example is a pair of the form. Okay, x vector of input values and t is target value. If these are the input value, these are the input values, this t is the target value. Okay, target value you can take also as a vector. Okay, n is the learning rate we are using. Generally you are supposed to use a very small one, 0.055. Okay, so initialize each wi. Okay, how many weights you are using in your network, each wi you have to initialize with small random values until termination condition met. That is the total error is equal to 0.0001. Okay, and up to that point we have to repeat this process. Initialize this delta wi to 0. Okay, first we are making this difference as 0. Okay, then for each training example, for input to instance x to the unit, compute output 0. Okay, so for each linear unit weight wi, okay, this change value you are calculating. Then for each unit wi value we are changing, that is how many weights are present in your network. How many weights are present in your network? All the weights you are updating until termination condition is met. This one is the algorithm for gradient descent. Now we will see what is gradient descent and difference between gradient descent and stochastic gradient descent. Okay, so here uh, gradient descent is to update the weight value to updating of weight values until our minimum situation occurs, that is a error becomes a minimum. Okay, now here you see, observe this one, our weight values we are taking like this. Assume this is some wi like this. Okay, so we have to apply gradient descent. We have to apply gradient descent to change this w value to get this error up to this point. Okay, so error is in y-axis and these w's were on the x-axis. Okay, so by changing these w values, your error has to come to this position. Okay, so how this curve is happened, we are taking some learning rate or not. Okay, depending on that learning rate we are taking as negative rate, that is to minimize the error, to reduce the error we are taking negative rate. If you take that learning rate as a larger number, first time it comes here, second time it comes here, in that case if you take your learning rate as a larger number, you may miss the this particular location, that is error in minimum, error where error is the minimum location. Okay, that's why you are not supposed to take learning rate very big value. You can take that one is 0.010, 0.05, like that you can take as a negative value to come to decrease our error value like this up to this point. Okay, so for example your weights are present here, weights are present here. In that case also we have to apply our gradient descent to bring our weights to this location. Okay, so that is gradient descent. We use the total training data to update weight values, okay, until error becomes a acceptable level. Okay, that is a global minimum. Okay, so here see this one, gradient descent, it uses entire training data for each cycle, that is for each epoch it uses entire training data. If you use entire training data, it requires more time. Okay, so to reduce that one, stochastic gradient descent is used. Okay, here we can use only single training example per cycle, per epoch. In gradient descent, error is summed overall examples before updating weights. Okay, so all the error we are taking sum of all the errors before updating weights we are taking. That is previously we have shown error equal to 1 by 2 sigma training data minus actual output whole square. Like that we are taking, that is total error, we are taking sum of all those things. Okay. Okay. In the case of stochastic gradient descent, weights are updated upon examining each training example. Okay, so there we are not using entire training data to update weight things. Okay, we are using only one weight we are using for epoch. Okay, here we are updating weights upon examining each training example. But in the case of ordinary gradient descendant, they all the errors, we are taking sum of all the errors. Okay, so those, that is the disadvantage of ordinary gradient descent. One more disadvantage is gradient descent requires more computation power because all the data we are using to update weight values. That's why gradient descent is gradient descent requires more computation power than stochastic gradient descent. Here, I'll explain what is global minimum and local minimum. So for entire data, this is y-axis is error, and x-axis we are taking weights. Okay, so some weights are present here. By applying gradient descent, gradually you are bringing down like this. Okay, so this is the minimum location where error is minimum one. So from that point, error again starts increasing, so we have to stop our process here. Okay, so once you reach that location, this is the minimum location for all the weight values. Okay, this is the minimum location with different combination of weight values. That is the minimum location. So for all the things, that is a minimum. That's why it is called as global minimum. Okay, then so there is a disadvantage for gradient descent. What is the disadvantage? For example, so here this is error, and the bottom one is x-axis is the weights. Here some weights we are starting at this point. We are applying gradient descent. It comes to this point. Error comes to this location. After changing these grade weight values, error starts increasing. Okay, what is the meaning of this one? You got some minimum error at some location. Later weights are increasing. At this point, what we may assume, so this is the minimum, I can stop at this point my algorithm, but that is not correct. Another minimum is there, another minimum is there. So here we may misguide in these type of situations. So that is another disadvantage of gradient descent. To overcome that one, we can go for the stochastic gradient descent.